one thing I want to retouch on that we had talked about when we tried to record this the first time before it got fucked up.
Did you post that or not?
No, I couldn't because it wasn't
Okay.
usable. How the term Zionism, has been hijacked, right?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And corrupted. So, because when I first heard the word Zionism, it was taught to me, and what I was originally told it was just plain and simple Israel's right to exist in its plainest form. And now, of course, back then, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, plain and simple, of course, why wouldn't they have the right to exist? There's like, the U.S. to exist, right? Whatever, I didn't think much of it. It was like, okay, cool, sure, whatever. But it's pretty clear today that Zionism is one of those terms that has evolved and taken on its own shape, like woke went to wokeism, right?
Yeah.
Because when wokeism was became that leftist cult mind ideology, it developed from stay woke, be woke, that slang term of people talking about like, oh, that just means that you're aware of what's going on. You're like, you're hip, things and whatever, right? Stay woke, be woke or whatever, right? But then it developed into being wokeism as another way to push DEI and, social justice and everything like, and so wokeism then became the radical leftist ideology. And if you weren't woke, then you were the enemy. And that's what pushed into cancel culture and all that other bullshit during the Biden administration and stuff like that. And for a little bit during the first Trump administration, as a kind of a counterculture against him at the time. Now, what we see with Zionism is if you don't support Israel, if you don't support this war effort, if you don't support anything to have to do with just Jews, Jewish in general, you are now anti-Semitic. Period. Point blank. Period. Doesn't matter. If you don't support the war, you're anti-Semitic. If you don't support, if you don't believe that Christians are called to defend and support Israel, which is Zionism, Christian Zionism, then you're anti-Zionist and therefore you are anti-Semitic, because now they conflate anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, which is bullshit. And now you are
that's
now
all they're doing. Yeah, they're creating anti-Semites. They're creating racism in proxy. They try to use it as their narrative for control so that people don't say, oh, I'm not a racist, I'm not an anti-Semite, so I'm not going to go against them. No, they're actually creating people that hate Jews now, not the political establishment of Zionism or whatever it is. But it's not, Zionism isn't even what it was. So I don't know. It's a fucked up deal, bro. Like, they are creating a hatred and they're doing it to themselves. They do it for a control factor. Then it ends up, it's going to bite them in the fucking ass. Look, I just watched today.
Now,
I saw
what they're doing is they're using it to emotionally manipulate people into supporting the war and everything. So,
look, I just saw a commercial earlier today on Fox News, and it was like old people in Ukraine or whatever, and it was old Jews, and they were like, all these Jews in Ukraine are dying from the cold, and they're abandoning all these old abandoned buildings, and Christians for the Jewish people or whatever. I don't remember what it said, but like for $25 a day, it will, make these care packages and feed these fucking old ass Jews. And it's showing these fucking videos of these fucking old ass Jews on are you looking up the commercial?
No, I'm looking up
should.
something else. No, I'm looking up something else.
But I was like, I watched it. I'm like, man, this is so fucked up. Like, the Jews are some of the richest motherfuckers out there. Like, why aren't they fucking paying for their own fucking people, for starters? Second to that, like, whatever happened to Ethiopian commercials? Come on, bruh. Like, I'd rather fucking give fucking 10 cents a day to a fucking Ethiopia.